funny.
You mentioned not liking Valentine's Day too much. So Christmas, I guess, is a different story.
It's a real holiday. It has some real factual meaning, right? So I'll take that one. Yeah. If someone can give me an explanation on a Valentine's Day deal, I'm open ears.
I don't have it for you.
All right.
You feel like the team got the proper benefit out of the couple days off and back into the gym?
I mean, I'm honest. I mean, I don't know. How do I know? We practiced well. We had probably one of our better practices of the year today. It was pretty competitive. They were pretty excited to be here, and that's really what you look for. That you guys are excited to be back and excited to play some more. And knowing what we got coming up, they need to be excited because there's a lot of opportunities out there for us.
Do you feel like?
Go ahead. Oh. Isaac said he felt like one of the biggest changes in that Central Arkansas game was that the energy level was really higher. Have you seen them kind of keeping that up through practice today?
Yeah, I really have. Like I said, that's one of the things you're a little concerned about coming out of the break, right? Guys go home and get comfortable. I mean, you imagine most of them don't do a whole lot of running on their own. Even though you might encourage them to, but it was good for them to get away. The team had struggled for the last 3 weeks, better part of 3 weeks or so in terms of finding ways to win games. So to leave here on a winning note, to get some time with their families, but to be excited to be back, I think is really, really important for us.
You mentioned using this break to evaluate things, look at some film. Were there things that you picked up on that you've been able to bring into these last couple practices?
Absolutely. And if you ask the guys, we started to wrinkle with some things offensively. The biggest thing is we got to find better ways to score, get better looks more consistently. We struggled offensively, so really did some deep dives into what we're doing. Got to find ways to get, whether it's some better opportunities with the floor space, got to find ways to get ice in the paint a little bit more to create openings and shots for guys who shoot the ball well, and specifically Lindy and Thomas, and now with Kurt back, as another guy who can really bring some offensive weaponry from the perimeter, just opening the floor a little bit more and giving those guys a little more freedom to be creators.
I know you said Mike Cunningham wasn't available against Central Arkansas. Where is he today? Is he going to be back?
Yeah, he'll be back. He's actually, it's one of those things you deal with sometimes. The weather was kind of crazy yesterday. In fact, Duncan texted me at 3:30 this morning that he just got back in the Stillwater, so he didn't make it back yesterday. And Cunningham should have arrived in Oklahoma City about an hour ago. So just travel issues.
Is Contravius Jones, do you expect him to be available again too?
Yeah, everybody's available. They were all available last week. It's just, again, we've got standards, and it's my job to uphold those and make sure guys understand that it's their duty to follow them, and when they don't, the consequences. I don't hold them forever, and at some point, those guys will have another opportunity to show they can help us on the court.
Have you seen them respond to that form of discipline?
Again, they've been fine. They both, I think, understood. The teammates know what the expectations are. They know. And 18 to 22-year-olds don't always follow the game plan, so to speak. But you don't have a rule if you don't enforce it. And if all of a sudden we have a standard that's supposed to be set at a certain level and someone gets outside that and I don't do anything, then I've changed the standard, right? And then it's on me to make sure that guys are staying within bounds of what's expected from them from a behavioral standpoint. And once they do that, again, we move on, we try to support them and try to help make them better.
How nice is it for you to have this team back at full load right before you guys start Big 12 play?
It's huge. It's the one thing that we're a little worried about going into the season is when are you whole? Obviously, not having Cunningham the first few games and not knowing about weather situation before the season started. Hoping you get Kurt when you expected to get him, but you don't necessarily have full control over that. So to get to this point and now have a full complement of available guys, gives you what you want going into conference play is a healthy group, a group that's excited to play and knowing that we got a lot of challenges ahead of us.
What do you most want to see out of this next game?
I want to see us just play better. It sounds pretty generic, but I don't think we played great. I think we defended well in the first half the other day. I don't think we defended very well in the second half the other day. And part of it was we started kind of tinkering with our offense a little bit in that game. And so there was a little bit of unfamiliarity with where guys were supposed to be. So maybe a little cleaner offense, a little bit more cohesion defensively throughout the game. I'd like to continue to build on shooting free throws well, which we did the other day. And then we've got to take care of the ball better. Kind of look at the stats in our league, which I'm very aware of. That was one of the areas we've struggled in. We haven't rebounded as well offensively. haven't taken care of basketball as well. And those are two areas, if we don't do a better job of, we'll find ourselves in a tough spot going against the type of competition we'll face for the next 2.5 months.
We got Curtis Jones getting that Big 12 Co-Newcomer of the Week award. What's it like to see him have that kind of success this early in his career here?
I'm happy for any of the guys who, get honored in that way. It's not something we necessarily shoot for. It's a vote, right? So who knows? I don't know what it takes. And there's a lot of really good players in this league who all, on any given night, can have a moment where you kind of jump off the page at you. So I'm happy for him, considering that, he's been waiting for a while to even get on the court. And to play the way he did in his first game in here is really, really optimistic for our team.
I know you're not big on who starts and who doesn't, but are you starting to find, now that you have everybody back, are you starting to find a consistent lineup that's been bringing you your team's best basketball yet, or are you still struggling to find that?
No, I would say, I started, the lineup that started the last, I don't know how many games now, it's been playing really well. Even the games that we haven't won, you look at their plus minus as a group, it's been positive. Even how we lost in that Nebraska by 20 and they were +2 for the game as a group. Problem is they weren't on the court together long enough. And there was also a game where Cam and Thomas both kind of, in terms of offensive production, were no-shows. And then the last game, that unit was good, and Thomas had an off game. He wasn't as good as he is, but that's why you have a team. You got to have other guys step up and pick up the slack a little bit. Curtis Jones did that the other day. So, again, it's more about finding the 8 or 9 guys that can get into a good groove as a rotation. Is really what you're looking for. I don't feel like you can necessarily win or lose a game to start, right? Especially offensively. So we try to put the defensive lineup out there that can get us off to a sound start and keep the other team at bay for a while.
With such a young team, so many guys who've been away from home for the first time, how nice was it for them, you think, to be able to get this break and spend some time with family?
I don't even know how I can measure it, really, in terms of, usually that a team in our position schedules differently, and we go home happy because we're 10-1, and going home 5-6 doesn't feel the same. So to be around people who can pick them up and encourage them, especially going in with a win, helps that psyche a little bit. But I've made no bones about it, man. We're about to play the hardest 18 games they've ever seen. We got to be prepared singularly every night to have a different approach, but the same focus, disciplined mindset in terms of what it takes to win.
You mentioned throughout the summer and the other part of the season, you hope to be playing your best basketball at the turn of the calendar. It's getting close now. How far away do you feel you guys are?
We're further along defensively than I thought we'd be at this point. We're not quite where I hope we'd be offensively. Now, part of it is so much of offense is personnel driven. Your defense is more team-based and schematically driven, so you can find units who can play well. Like, my first game of the year, I looked down the bench and Luke Major, no disrespect to him, I think he's a great player. He's the only perimeter sub we have. So it takes a while. Now you got Curtis Jones available. You got more weaponry and stuff like that. So that's part of it. The other part is we got to get a little bit more creative in terms of creating offense, and that's starting to come. So I hope in the next week or so we start to find our groove offensively and put both ends of the court together and play better.
You mentioned how difficult it could be for your captains to go from kind of a role player to a primary scorer. Do you think that's maybe a little bit easier for Curtis, because considering he didn't play last year, he could step in and fill that hole that's needed?
Yeah, and usually athletic guys who can shoot, right?
That'll do it.
It's not rocket science either. I mean, that was my struggle. I wasn't all that athletic and was a very average shooter. So I was Batman all the time. I mean, I was not Batman. I was Robin most of the time. On a good night, I was Robin. But I did all the little things that helped my team win. And we got to continue to find guys who are comfortable in their roles and what they bring to the team, and let guys who can emerge and step up and make shots.
You mentioned post-game that you wanted Michael Weathers to take this time and kind of let some things go, free his mind a bit. Do you sense that he's done that over the last couple of days?
Yeah, I do. I sense a great, just kind of renewed energy about him. He had been kind of, I don't know what it was, and you never know really with 19, 20, 21-year-old kids what's going on with them outside of what you see in practice. But he seems, again, one of the guys who's really renewed and excited about playing. Kind of taking a little bit of pressure off him in terms of being a primary playmaker for others, and really going to give him more opportunities to just be a scorer. You'll probably see Lindy playing more point. You'll probably see Ice playing more point, and him being more of a scorer at least for the next few weeks. But obviously, he's a guy who can make plays at the end of a shot clock specifically, so he'll still have the ball in his hands a lot, but just with a different approach.
When you built the schedule, did you intentionally put Central Arkansas, Texas A&M-Corpus Christi kind of a lighter load compared to your earlier opponents? Did you build that intentionally?
There's a purpose in everything we do, but not necessarily. I mean, it just kind of depends what dates. If scheduling is hard, it's harder than it seems, right? People just think, hey, I call up UCLA and say, hey, I want to play, you want to meet in Dallas. It doesn't work that way. The dates have to work, and whether you return or not. And so, that's just kind of the way the schedule fell. I think it's good for us, but I think all the games have been good for different reasons.
What kind of benefits do you think this one can provide?
Just to give us another, real test. It's a really defensive-driven team. We'll see some really good defensive teams in our league moving forward. They've got more size than you typically see. The two Southland teams we've played are two of the bigger ones. They both have true centers. They got kicked our tails last week in there. And they've got one that can give us some trouble too. So it'll give us a different look because we'll see some pretty big bodies in that paint area for the next 20 or so games once we get past this one.
You guys have played a lot of pretty dominant fours, but you mentioned centers. Is that kind of good for Yor to get his feet wet with good guys that'll be seen in the league?
Yeah. I mean, the one not so beneficial part of having so many young guys inside is, again, they only compete against each other for the most part. So it's him and Kent, and neither one of them really know what to do. Right? So most of the time they just foul each other, or they let the other one score. I mean, there's really no in between. They don't play good defense and score, or miss a shot because a guy played good defense on you. Mr. Solomon was here yesterday helping him out a little bit, and certainly hope that as we move forward, maybe he can continue that a little bit for us.
How did you see them respond to Mitch when he was helping them there?
It's great. What the thing you can respect about Mitch is, he really made himself into a productive player. He's not a kid who came to here with unbelievable talent and just knocked the world over. He just kind of progressively improved over the course of his career, and he can see some of the talent that they have that maybe he didn't have on the front end. But now if they can get his knowledge, that can help speed up the process a little bit, specifically on the defensive end. He was our most reliable defender, literally made up for mistakes of all four guys on the other court on most possessions last year. And Yor has a different ability, right? Mitch couldn't just jump up and block a shot when he wanted to, and Yor can. So if we can get a combination of that, those guys will be very, very benefited by that.